Hey friends, Catherine Korostoff here from Research Rockstar, and today I have a really fun topic. It's something that comes up quite a lot in conversation, and that is about when should I hire a market research company? And so I've prepared here for us today four big clues that would indicate if you really should decide to hire an outside market research company to help you with your needs. So let's start from the beginning. So if you're thinking about whether or not you should hire a market research company, it's probably because you have a situation where you're trying to decide um, how you're going to get data you need. So does your organization need reliable data about customer attitudes and behaviors? Is this a situation that you find yourself in now or a situation you expect to be coming up? Maybe it's a situation where maybe you've been getting some anecdotal clues that customer satisfaction may not be as high as you would like. So now you want to get some more reliable data so that you can really conclude whether or not satisfaction is something that is falling and needs to be addressed. Maybe you have a new product that isn't meeting sales projections. That could be another case where your organization might want to collect some really reliable data about customer attitudes and behaviors to understand what's going on with this product. Is it that the product has missed the mark, or is it just that we need to rethink how we're positioning it or messaging it in the marketplace? Maybe you have a situation where your company is trying to make a go or no go decision on a new market opportunity, and so you really want to make sure that you understand what the customer requirements are. Or maybe you're in a situation where your company has a new initiative and you're just trying to be more customer centric, so you'd like to do some really robust research to understand your target market's important sources of pain, their needs, their priorities. Obviously, there are a lot of cases where having reliable data about customer attitudes and behaviors is going to be important. So once you've made that decision that you do need reliable data, now the choice is how are you going to get that data? And in a lot of cases, that's going to come down to a very basic choice. Should you conduct a market research study on your own, or should you hire an outside market research company? And there are pros and cons to both approaches. Now, I do want to point out that if you are going to do market research on your own, there are a couple of scenarios that come up. Your company may have an internal market research or customer insights function, a team or a department that does this kind of work in-house. If that's the case, then obviously, work with that organization. You should be talking to them about what your need is to see if it's something that they are going to want to do in-house, and they'll advise you on under what circumstances it would be wise to bring in an outside supplier. Because even if your organization has an inside market research and insights team, there are a lot of cases where they'll do certain types of projects in-house and certain types of projects they may have preferred suppliers for. Or they may do certain types of projects in-house but may outsource specific parts of them to because in the interest of just managing staff time and resources and so forth. So if you have an inside market research or insights team, definitely start there and talk to them. If you don't have an internal market research team or a customer insights team and you're trying to decide for yourself whether or not you're going to do some research in-house or if you're going to hire a research firm, again, there are pros and cons to both scenarios. So what I would say to you is that there are four specific clues that would indicate to you that you really are better off. So again, this is going to vary a little bit about whether or not you have an in-house team you can turn to, but if you don't have a dedicated in-house team and you're making this choice on your own, here are four clues that you really do need to hire a market research company. Clue number one, are these results likely to get scrutinized? That is this going to be a high visibility project? Let's take the case where maybe you are seeing some anecdotal evidence that customer satisfaction is declining. And so your company wants some hard data to understand what is satisfaction right now. Where are we? And how does that compare to satisfaction, for example, with our competitors? And you really want some robust analysis. That's the kind of data that can be controversial, right? You might be coming back with data that might be hard for people to hear. That kind of data is going to get scrutinized. People are going to want to know how it was collected, what kind of data analysis was done, were the statistics done correctly, and so forth. If you've got data that really is going to be scrutinized, you're really going to be better off hiring a professional market research firm to do the data. If, on the other hand, your company is just looking for some directional data, it's not going to be heavily scrutinized, they're just looking for some directional idea of what's going on, then perhaps that's something that you might want to take on yourself. Another big clue, though, that you may need to bring in a market research firm is if the topic requires some expertise you don't have. So, for example, if the topic that you're looking at requires expertise in a population or product category, which you don't currently have expertise in, you can absolutely find a market research company that does. So, for example, maybe your company is currently based in the United States and it's considering expansion in a few countries. Well, are those countries your company already has done business in? Do you have local presence there? Do you have partners there? If not, if you're going to be doing research to understand the potential success for your company, to identify some of the challenges and opportunities that may exist in those countries for your company, it would be wise to hire a market research firm that already has expertise in those countries. In fact, a lot of market research companies are global. They will actually have some local presence in different countries, and that can be really advantageous because a lot of products and services do have localization issues, right? Or cultural issues that you need to be aware of when you're collecting market research data. So, again, this is another great case where you have to be honest and say, hey, this is a topic that requires expertise in a population or a product category we don't know. So just be candid with yourself. If that's the case, you're definitely going to be better off hiring a research firm that's already done work in either those geographies or with those demographic groups that you may not have familiarity with yet, or even product categories that you don't have familiarity with. A third clue that you may need to bring in a market research firm is that honestly, you just don't have the skills in research methodology design or analysis in-house. And again, that's something that really is important. Again, if you're doing some, kind of quick and dirty directional research, maybe, you're going to do some interviews with your own customer base, something like that, that can be something that you can do in-house and it can be fine. But if you really do need data that is going to have a robust methodology design and robust data analysis, it is usually wise to bring in an outside market research firm. Again, especially if you don't have an insights team in-house, right? If there's no market research team or insights team in-house, you may not have anybody on your team who's going to have those right kinds of methodology, design, and data analysis skills. So, for example, ask yourself, given what your topic is, do you know if it would be better to tackle it using quantitative research methods or qualitative research methods? Do you know enough about different methods to know if this should be a survey, in-depth interviews, ethnographic research, online qualitative research, social media listening research, etc.? So if you're not really familiar about when it's appropriate to use different methods, it really would be wise to get some expert help with that. Also, if you are doing a project that is going to be on the quantitative side, data analysis skills are really important. It is shockingly easy to misinterpret survey data. And I've seen people who don't know about data analysis make really basic mistakes that caused them to interpret survey data incorrectly. So it's going to be really important that you know what you're doing if you are going to be doing survey research because statistics really do require some skills. So again, if you feel that you may not have knowledge of different methodologies or when to use them, and if you don't know much about data analysis or statistics, those are great reasons to bring in a professional market research company. Another good clue that you may need to bring in a market research company is if you need the results by a specific date. Maybe there's a big strategy meeting coming up in a couple of months or a big board of directors meeting that the information is going to be needed by. If you have a firm date, it can be very wise to bring in a professional market research firm to actually conduct the research because, again, if your company doesn't have an internal market research team, an internal insights team, and you're just going to try to tackle this project because, you're a good corporate citizen and you're trying to help out, well, it's probably not your primary job. you probably have a lot of other things going on that are going to disrupt your ability to manage this type of work from start to finish. Even if you're doing a online survey with your own customer base and you might think, well, that sounds pretty easy. I can handle that in-house. First of all, there are a lot of skills involved in actually designing a professional quality survey that's not going to be subject to all sorts of bias, not to mention the data analysis issues we just discussed. But think really about time. Even with a relatively short online survey project, there are a lot of things that you need to do to design that project, to recruit participants, to collect the data, to analyze the data, and to prepare some sort of presentation or report. Those things take real time. And if you're constantly being interrupted by your primary job responsibilities, chances are your schedule is going to slip. So it can be a really important thing if you know you have a firm schedule to bring in an outside firm to manage that project from start to finish. An outside company will be able to allocate appropriate resources to keep your project on schedule so you meet that important deadline. Now, look, there are other reasons why you may choose to hire a market research firm, and there's certainly pros and cons, but these are four important clues. If any of these apply to you, I would encourage you to seriously consider hiring an outside market research firm to help you. So then the question becomes, well, where do you find them? So there are a number of directories of market research suppliers that are available online. The Insights Association has one called the Blue Book. Quark's Marketing Research Review also has a number of directories that are extremely useful. Greenbook at greenbook.org has a wonderful directory as well, and SOMAR also has a directory here at directory.somar.org. So you can go to any of these directories and put in your topics of interest. Like if you are doing research and you want people who have you're looking for a firm that has the ability to execute market research in Europe, for example. You can specify that as a requirement. Or maybe you're looking for a firm that specifically has expertise in doing food-related market research. Fantastic. How about market research with Spanish-speaking populations? Absolutely. So no matter what your criteria are, you can use these directories to find a set of firms that would be worth considering. Now, before you contact any companies, I do encourage you to do some form of documentation about your requirements. It doesn't always have to be a formal RFP, but at least have a memo of some kind, some sort of short document that says clearly what are the things that you're interested in understanding about your customers' attitudes or behaviors. If you can state it as some sort of objective or hypothesis that you have, document that. That can be really helpful. It's going to help your potential suppliers be able to come back to you with specific recommendations and also budget and timeline estimates if they can be really precise in understanding what you're trying to do. So again, if it's that project where, well, we're seeing some anecdotal evidence that customer satisfaction may be lower than we would like, and we're trying to really get a handle on that. We need to get a measure of actual customer satisfaction, and we'd also like to know how our customer satisfaction levels compare to that of our key competitors. That's something that a market research supplier will be able to respond to in a way that you'll find useful. So anything you can tell them about what your objectives are, or if you have some hypotheses, tell them a little bit about your target population, tell them a little bit about your geographic scope. Is this US only research or is it international? Again, it doesn't have to be a super formal RFP, but even just 5 to 7 bullet points on what you want will help them to come back to you in a way that's going to be useful for you. So again, there are pros and cons to hiring market research firms. Even companies that have in-house market research departments will sometimes hire market research suppliers for different types of tasks. But if you don't have a market research department to advise you, do consider that there are situations where you are definitely going to want to hire a market research company. So I hope you found that conversation useful. And I just also want to share that in some cases, you may want outside help, but maybe don't want to actually outsource the entire project. Maybe you've decided that you're going to do research in-house, but you just need help with some specific aspects, like you just want somebody who's a professional to come in and design your questionnaire, or Maybe you're going to be doing in-depth interviews with customers and you would like a professional interviewer to help conduct those interviews. Or maybe you're in a situation where you're going to do an online survey on your own, but you know that statistics aren't your thing and you just want to bring in somebody to help you with the data analysis. Here at Research Rockstar, we have a service called Rent a Researcher. Rent a Researcher is a division of Research Rockstar, and it's a service where we out-task, right? So instead of outsourcing your entire project, you can out-task those specific parts to our researchers. We have over 100 researchers who are all US-based researchers. These are consultants that have been vetted by our team here at Research Rockstar. So these aren't anonymous online sources. And the tasks are done on an hourly rate basis. So most tasks are completed anywhere between 10 and 60 hours, depending on the type of task that's involved. And these are some of the skills that we have available. So if you do want to get some outside help, but you don't want to outsource, you'd rather out-task specific parts, I hope you'll consider us here at researchrockstar.com. You can come to the website to read more about the Rent a Researcher service. I hope that conversation was useful for everybody today, and if you have any questions, please post them here. And again, if you do like these conversations, please do subscribe and like, and reviews are always appreciated. Thanks, everybody, and have a great day.